What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Daddy Jeep Garage. If you guys watched my Bantam video, which I sure hope you did, you would have heard me talking about my issue with my front hubs. They're clicking a bit going down the road, and they'll sometimes re-engage, which is a problem because my front drive shaft isn't very balanced. So tonight we're going to deal with that. We're going to install a set of these Milemarker Hubs, model number 449SS. So these are actually getting slightly better reviews than even the Warren hubs, and they weren't that expensive. I picked them up on Amazon. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started by removing this factory Super Duty hub. Got it. It's just a spring clip that holds this thing in. I'm going to grab it with my my channel locks and wiggle it on out of there. Super easy. Now this hub, it's a little stubborn. That's why we have a hammer. Go. All right, factory hub removed. There's no major concerns with these hubs. They do lock the axle, so I'm going to hang on to these, throw them in my trail bag as a spare. If I ever do break one of these hubs, I can go ahead and throw these back in, and I can at least be sure to have four-wheel drive. So we're just going to clean this out a little bit. Not going to put a whole lot of effort into it. Just make sure there's not a bunch of gunk and grime that's going to wear on it. It looks, for the most part, pretty clean. The nice thing about these Super Duty hubs, unlike an older style hub, is that's sealed in there. There's no intermixing of greases and stuff from the bearings themselves. This whole unit is a self-contained unit. So if we look at our new hubs, it says right on the sticker on these not to grease them. They're just supposed to get a light coat of oil. So that's all they're going to get. So we're going to go ahead, get this hub out. This kit even comes with the Allen wrench you need. So pretty straightforward install. It's held in the package with two screws, so we got to yank those out. Put those with the rest of them. Okay, we don't need this top half just yet, but we do need this bottom inner piece. Again, we're going to put a little bit of motor oil in there per the instructions. Let that kind of roll around in there. Okay, it's dumping out on my hand, so that's good. A little bit on the teeth here. All right, just make a good mess of myself, but that's okay. I want this stuff all lubed. So now that that's all slathered up with some oil, we'll go ahead and get that shoved back in there. I think maybe a rag's a good idea. All right, as with anything, before you install something, there's always a YouTube video to watch. So I did watch a couple just to make sure I knew what I was doing and I knew what I was talking about. So some of you are probably doing the same thing. So here's what I've learned. There's some debate on which one of these retainer clips to put in. So there's this C-clip one. And there's also this spring clip. If I could find an end. Here we go. So the spring clip. So what I learned is you use them both. So I find that it's best to install the spring one in first. We're going to go ahead and we're going to find an end. And we're going to get that started. Just work its way around until it's fully seated. Oops. And then we can put the C-clip one in. Same thing, just get one edge started, work it around. I'm not going to go ahead, I'm going to take a screwdriver and a hammer, just work that around, just to make sure everything is fully seated. Don't want to force anything, just some light taps. You can see that it's seated because all of the bolt holes are accessible. If that's not in all the way, that ring will actually kind of crowd the bolt holes, and you won't be able to get the screw started. So it'll be pretty evident it's not seated. So I'll go ahead and get the hub in place. There is an extra little stud here. Make sure that lines up with this middle hole on this. You'll see the pattern. There's one odd hole, so make sure that that stud lines up in there. And then we can get our screws going. So it's always a good idea to tighten these in a bit of a star pattern. I don't know if that's 100% necessary. And I also didn't tighten everything on the first go around. I just got them all snug. Now I'm going to follow through. And I'm going to tighten each one of them again in that same star pattern, just to be sure everything is seated evenly. I'm not making these real tight. These aren't very big bolts, so we're just getting a nice little snug on them. All right, that's that. So this is all installed now, and the kit even comes with this little tool to make turning these easier, but they're nice and smooth, so you don't really need it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw that in the tool bag just in case they get a little stiffer in the future, but right now they're super smooth. So that's it for the install of these Milemarker hubs. It took about 10 minutes. This is one of the easiest mods you can make to your Superduty Dana 60. And again, my Dana 60 is a 99-04, so it's a 31 spline outer. So that's why I used the part number that I did, which again is the 449SS part number. So that's it for this install. Let's see what else we get into tonight. All right, it's the next night in the shop. Tonight is apparently TJ night, so I'm working on Stan's TJ. We're getting the caster angle dialed in. It's currently at 10.9 degrees, which is not good. So we're going to get that rotated back forward to about 6 degrees. And back there, Keith's working on replacing his steering shaft and his steering box. Okay, so with these Rusty's Y-links, there's only an adjustment on one end, which makes it a little harder. It was so nice on my Jeep to have adjustments on both ends. I could just spin the bar. So I went ahead and I took this end apart and I spun it out until I got 5.7 degrees of caster, which is what we're going to run with. Between 4 and 6 is ideal from what I understand, so I'm happy with 5.7. So we're going to get this buttoned up and we're going to take it for a drive and see if we fix the death wobble. That's it for tonight, guys. We got a lot done. I got the caster angle set on this TJ to 5.7 degrees, so hopefully that's the winning number that we can get this thing finally 100% dialed in. And then guess what? This thing does need a new home. So this is a 2005 TJ Rubicon, Rusty's 4.5-inch long arm suspension, Steinjager steering. This thing is pretty sweet. So if anybody's looking for a really nice Rubicon TJ, go ahead and send me a message. And on Keith's Jeep tonight, we got his steering box replaced. We got his new steering shaft in. We did identify some movement in his track bar mount, so that still needs to be addressed. But I think we've made some big strides in his steering. It's going to be a whole lot better going down the road. And more to come tomorrow. I got another project hitting the shop tomorrow that's going to be a little bit different, so stay tuned. I'll show you that here shortly. So as promised, yet another project I brought in this week. This is a bed for a 2008 Super Duty. It's got some issues, some holes in the floor, some holes that somebody cut in the floor. Don't know why. But overall, it's a pretty decent bed. And again, we live here in Pennsylvania in the Rust Belt, so, you know, we're okay fixing rust here. It might suck, and I don't like it, but it's the necessary evil where we live. So I'm fixing up this bed for a buddy of mine. So we picked up new cross members. I think we just got those on eBay. So I'm currently cutting out the old cross members and welding in the new cross members. So I've got this front one cut. I've got it all fitted so I can weld this first piece into this header panel as well as the floor, because the more I cut out, the more the floor sags. So I think I need to backtrack, get this one welded in before I get too much more cut out. So that's where we're at. We're actually going to do a little bit of welding. Alright, the other rusty parts on this truck, other than the cross members that we already dealt with, are the wheel openings. And with the big fender flares, I don't have to worry too much about blending paint as long as I keep all of my repairs inside of the fender flares. So I've got this shiny new wheel arch, and I cut it so it's going to, again, stay inside of the edge of the fender flare so we don't have to blend any paint. So this is going to clean it up super nice. It's bent down there. I've got to make some adjustments, but it's coming along. We got all the bed floor pieces patched that we really needed to patch. There's still some holes that were cut, but with the bed liner in here, it's not going to be a big deal. And we are keeping the toilet flange, just in case someday Larry wants to install a toilet in the bed of his truck. Why somebody has a toilet flange mounted in the bed of this truck, I have no idea, but it's there. So we got these patches done. We put a big patch on this side because this seam was getting a little thin. So because it's going to be under a bed cover, we're allowed to be a little sloppier, so to speak. So these are all welded on top of the existing bed. I cut out all the rusts first, neutralized anything that was left. So it's going to be a lasting repair, but this part is done. Of course, we got to sand this thing all down and shoot some paint on it. So this is where we're at. We got the new rails all welded in. So we just ground all the spot welds out, knocked out the old bed rails, welded in the new ones. They actually turned out great. We just line up the holes, so it was pretty easy. We patched a bunch of spots in the holes in the floor with some new pre-shaped floor material we just picked up on eBay. And then I went ahead and I just laid on a super thick coat of Rust-Oleum. I thinned it 3-to-1 with acetone and added a little bit of hardener to it. So this is our final coating on the bottom side. Now it's time to flip this thing over, get some paint on the top. There you go, perfect. Keep it turned a little bit. There you go, right there. Straighten it out. Oh.
Easy.
There's a hole there. That's a perfect line, Keith. Keep it right on there. Turn that away. There you go. There you go.